Hello, everyone. My name is Maloney. I have a strong complex about my figure, about the fact that I have very small breasts. The expression, flat as a board, is about me. I'm tired of looking like this, so I found a secret to increase it, but I overdid it a little. There are plump girls, average, and then there are such as I, dystrophics. I am not talking about those figures that are taken in as models. They at least have the right height, unlike me. I'll start with the fact that I was born underweight. My mother carried me under her heart for a full 9 months, and I was born a little more than 1.5 kilograms. The doctors were surprised at this, because this was usually how twins or premature babies were born. But there I was. All my childhood, I was ill with everything I could get. Allergies, colds, constipation, anything, and almost every month. My family used to call me weak. My mother assured me that all my illnesses were due to my thinness, and she and my father made me eat. With tears in my eyes, I ate the damn potatoes, flour, and disgusting soups. Mom said it was healthy, and Dad said it was high in calories. Personally, at an early age, everything suited me and my body. I didn't even notice that I was too thin. I thought it was hard to be fat, but not skinny. However, when I grew up, my opinions changed. As I remember now, I came to school one September and saw my classmates. I was stunned by the fact that their breasts had grown over the summer, and 1 to 2 sizes. And why hadn't mine? When my classmates hugged me, it felt like pillows were touching me, and I was afraid to pierce them with myself. That day, I came home upset and in tears. My grandmother didn't understand what was wrong. I told her that the teacher thought I was a kid. All the girls are already wearing bras, and I still wear a t-shirt. I asked her, whimpering at the table. My grandmother just hugged me and said that everything would be fine. "They'll grow, don't worry, honey," she said. I enjoyed her support, but I couldn't wait long. That same evening, I went online and started looking at the cost of breast augmentation surgery. Even if I collected my grandmother's pension in 5 years, I still wouldn't have enough. And telling my parents is like running into another scandal. But once, purely by chance, I came across an ad on the internet for breast augmentation with a huge discount. Wow, I thought, this is definitely my chance, and I began to rustle through all my pockets, but not even the entire amount was enough. Then I came up with a brilliant idea. I had a rare collection of coins from my great-grandfather. I was given it for my birthday. I've heard they cost a lot of money. So I took them and sold them. Just this amount will also be enough for me to buy new things with an open neckline, I said to myself. I immediately called this clinic and made an appointment on the appointed day. The night before, I was lying on my bed, looking forward to appearing in class in a beautiful blouse or dress, and everyone would just be stunned by my new bust. I would be the center of attention. I would be eye-catching, proud, happy, and satisfied. I woke up the next morning at 5 a.m. I couldn't wait to go to the clinic. After a quick meal, I packed up and left. "Did you sign up for the operation?" the clinic asked. I said, "Yes," with satisfaction. "But you are not 18 years old. We cannot accept you. Sorry. The presence of an adult is mandatory," they told me. At that moment, it was as if the earth had fallen from under my feet. How could that be? I was so prepared. I did everything right. Why not? I begged them to accept me, promised not to tell what the clinic had done, but they said that they would face criminal liability, and that would be worse than my tears. They politely dismissed me and said that they would be waiting for me, but only with an adult by my side. I came home dead, all my dreams buried alive. My mother asked what was wrong at home, but I didn't want to tell her. In the evening, Grandma came into my room, and she was looking for the collection of medals. Oh no, I thought. I had to tell her everything, and I was terribly ashamed. Grandmother sat down on the sofa in horror and clutched at her heart. I got scared and ran to her. "Oh no, Grandma, please forgive me. I'll fix it. I swear, I'll fix it," I begged and began to kiss her hands. I was crying with shame and fright. Grandma asked me what I needed the money for, and I had to tell her everything. She laughed and told me to eat cabbage. I was surprised. How? Just eat cabbage and that's it? This pleased me more. I didn't need to go under the knife. I didn't need to spend a lot of money. I ran into the kitchen and ate cabbage like a mad woman. My mother was surprised at my appetite. "What's wrong? Usually you can't be forced to eat cabbage from under a stick," she said. I just nodded in her direction and continued to eat the leaves. It seemed to me that the more you eat, the faster they will grow. So I only ate cabbage and washed it down with water. On the third day, I began to feel sick, and so sick after a week that I didn't even want to look at it. And every night, I took a measuring tape and measured my bust in front of the mirror. It seems to me they're not growing. I should double my ration, I told myself. My mother did not have time to buy this vegetable, as in an hour it ran out. As the third week went by, I really felt unwell. I was lying on the bed, almost exhausted, and there were stumps all around me. When my mother came into the room, she screamed as if she saw a corpse, although that's about how I looked and felt too. The whole room smelt like cabbage. I was green, and not only was I sick and couldn't get up, I also spoke in a clumsy way. At my mother's cry, my grandmother came running. She was just as shocked by what was happening and told my mother what was wrong. My mother picked me up and took me to the hospital. I don't remember very well, but on the way, she scolded me for not sharing my feelings with her. "How did you manage to eat only cabbage for so long? What if I hadn't noticed? What would have happened then?" she screamed. At the hospital, they pumped me out, made some IVs, and then said that I should rest. I was discharged in a couple of days. When my mother calmed down, she spoke to me seriously about it. I told her how important it was to me, and my mother made the decision. A month later, we returned the money to the office and took the coins, and then my mother enrolled me in a good clinic with friends, where I still had a breast augmentation. I was so happy. Like I said, everyone at school was just blown away, and my self-confidence doubled. Now I feel much more feminine and beautiful. However, since then, I don't eat cabbage anymore.
Hello everyone, my name is Steven, and I want to tell you a ridiculous story. I have a best friend named David. We like to play tricks on each other. Sometimes it's fun, sometimes it's weak, and sometimes we even cross all the borders of humor. It is also not uncommon for us to perform various types of challenges. By the way, we take all this seriously, and you must do the task no matter how, and I will tell you how because of one task. I almost got kicked out of school, and I even spent one night in prison, and now everything is in order. It was David's turn to come up with a task for me. Everything was as usual. While I was waiting, I was already planning my task for him. Well, we met him early in the morning at 10 o'clock on the basketball court in the schoolyard. He was in a happy mood and had a sly look in his eyes. In general, the task was that I just didn't talk for 24 hours. That is, I won't be able to utter a single word or even the slightest sound until the next morning. It seems that this day I was not supposed to have any serious event or conversation. This task seemed to me quite harmless, and I could have easily completed it. And now the countdown has started. At first, everything was easy and simple, but even I didn't have to work too hard. I walked by myself and I was silent, but soon I became bored, and I could not communicate with anyone. I wanted to share my news, and that's when I played football. The ball accidentally hit the car of the director. Honestly, I didn't kick it. We were all called to the office. He was furious. It was terrifying. The director asked everyone who did it. No one confessed, and everyone started making excuses. At one point, he noticed that I was just silent and looked at me suspiciously. I guess I looked more like the responsible one than anyone else. Then he said that I was being suspended from school for a week as a punishment and would have to call my parents to school tomorrow. It was a shame because it wasn't my fault, but I couldn't explain myself. I just had to agree and leave. David's assignment was beginning to strain me. I thought that this would be the end of all the trouble, but this was not the case. Walking home after school, I saw a woman in front of me drop her purse. I ran up and picked it up and was about to take it to the woman when a policeman grabbed my arm. He probably thought I stole it. He started asking where I got this wallet from, but it was so evil I couldn't explain the situation. That made this guy think I was the thief. He pulled me into the car and drove me to the police station. Why did all this nonsense happen on this particular day, as if it was all on purpose? In addition, at that police station, the investigator asked me for a long time where I stole the wallet and what else did I steal. I didn't feel like everyone was blaming me, I just wanted to help. This silence was already weighing on me. Without receiving an answer from me, the investigator put me behind bars for a day until the circumstances were clarified. With me in the room sat two more men. One of them was bald and had tattoos, and the other was dressed in biker clothes. They may have been jailed for hooliganism. They asked me why I was locked up in prison, but I couldn't answer them. This made them look at me angrily, thinking I was ignoring them. They repeated their question again, but in a rougher tone, but there was no response from me. At that moment, they were already moving toward me, their fists clenched. Out of fear, I started to wave them away and jumped into the corner. Then one of them said that I might be dumb, and they calmed down and sat down. I couldn't sleep that night. The atmosphere in the prison was very oppressive, and this silence created discomfort. And the next morning, I couldn't wait for the 24 hours to end. I counted every minute. As soon as it was 10 o'clock, I screamed. That woke up the two men in the cell. They couldn't understand what was happening. A police officer immediately approached. I started to explain that it wasn't me who stole the wallet and why I didn't say anything all this time. Everyone around me started laughing and said it was a stupid thing to do. Fortunately, I was immediately released, advised not to play such games anymore. I was glad to speak again and even seemed to feel more cheerful. As it turned out, this seemingly harmless task is not actually easy. As I walked home, I began to think about my tougher assignment for Dave. Such a stupid situation happened to me. Subscribe and see other interesting stories.